Oh, yeah. Just waiting for it to come through. Yeah, there we go. We have sound. I'm really excited for this circuit. We had a discussion before. It's just a great driver's circuit and a great place to test everything out. I think it's a circuit the drivers enjoy, and it's even more fun to watch. So yeah, I can't wait to watch it. To be fair, I think the second best thing to driving is watching racing. So watching other people blast around this circuit is going to be as enjoyable for me as it would have been racing alongside them, I think. I think that's a good step forward from where we were with the course of damage model, because it's a little bit more refined, I guess. Drivers are going to be a little bit further apart from each other. They're going to be there's that added aspect of risk without completely destroying a driver's race. Um, and hopefully this will be representative of what happens later on, because what we've seen from practice is people having very, very close lap times. So if people can be within 300ths of a second of each other, we could be on for something really cool here. And another 300th of a second gap there between Bradbury and Harrod as Bradbury puts another lap in. Stellar teammate to have, I think, in terms of consistency and raw pace. So yeah, for sure. You want people around that you support and that support you and you get on well with as well. It's as much about the experience as it is the driving experience. Big kick of oversteer. I think the Formula 3 series is a great showcase of that. It's at the point where the power isn't so short that you're not going to kick the back end out, but it's enough to provide great racing still without having a huge power gap between the different drivers. It is not. I wonder if it's because the session is not yet finished. I suppose this is why we do a test session. So sorry for the delay, guys. We'll just we'll figure out what's going on and get straight back to the action as soon as we can. It seems they're stuck on the wait. It's a server side issue. It is, yeah, it's bizarre. I think Silkstone's still in the chat if you want me to go and ask him what he's seeing and Tony says he can't lose if it doesn't run, which is very true. But it's not good for us. We wanted to see some close racing, so well, now it's saying the race is finished. Is it not? Checkers have come up. Dave Cyrus asks if he can jump in if there's an extra session, even though he's missed the qualifying session. Right now, we're not sure if the session's running, so we'll have to figure out what that's doing first. But you should be able to join. That was very loud. Yes. Whew. And wait for it to take over. Yeah. Do you have no control over how the server runs? Is it run by iRacing? Right. Till the server purges. According to Liam Silkstone, the session's closed on his homepage, so it's not available externally anymore, which means it has finished for whatever reason. time for a brief intermission. It's all part of the process. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, I saw when you were reconnecting on one of the off stints. I think it was after Andy's absolutely mega night stint when you came back early. It took a hot minute for you to get back into the server on the stream. Yep, just in the pre-session practice. I mean, that's the reason we run these test sessions anyway, to make sure that we get everything right for the real thing. It's all learning. Apparently Matt can't hear you. I'll just have a check on the stream. Yeah, it sounds like we have no chat audio. Oh no, I can hear me, but you cannot hear you.
Okay. Hello? Yep, can you hear me? Is that all good? Is that all good? Is that all good? Matt Crosby in the chat. If you can hear me talking now, please let us know in the comments. Thank you ever so much. Okay. Hello? Yep, can you hear me? Ah, there I am. Hello.
Yeah, we're all through.
Is right. Okay, is right.
As we wait patiently for the stream delay. We're straight into qualifying.
All right, so let's do this. Do we have
Tony
drivers?
Draper straight out of the pits.
All right, so I'm just waiting. I'm hoping that everyone. So Pete Harrod is in the session as well. We are watching Ted Bradbury right now. Pete Harrod is in the pit lane. There he is. Looks like we've got. Have we got Ben Williams as well?
We do indeed.
Yes, we do. We've got Oliver Kemp. Don't see him yet. Ash Russell. Wonder what's happened to my cameras. It's gone on to Scenic. Let's have TV. There it is. Hello. So, that's Ted Bradbury. Whew, this has been an adventure so far.
Indeed. It's nice to be finally into the session. Everybody going out pretty early on the laps, trying to set a bank of lap by the looks of things.
Yeah.
Ben throwing it into the grass immediately.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, is Dave Cyrus in yet? No, doesn't look like it. Have we got Liam Silkston? No, doesn't look like it. We'll keep an eye on Ted Bradbury for right now. So, who's on a lap? Oh, there's Dave Cyrus in the pits. That's good. Where's Oliver Kemp?
Matt says it might be a little bit loud.
Okay, I will turn my mic down. Let's try that. Can you give me some chat quickly, Leon? And I'll see where you're...
Yep, we'll see how the levels are right now.
Alright, cool. Alright, let's go with that. Let's go with that. Thank you in the chat for keeping an eye out.
The always diligent Matt Crosby.
Always diligent, absolutely. For those of you that are in the chat that aren't racing, that were racing in the DTM series, do yourselves a favour, get iRacing, spend a bunch of money, and come and do the F3 series with us. I'm talking to you, Leon, as well. You're included in that group.
Yeah. Ooh. As much as I'd love to.
Yeah,
you know how much I'd love to.
Yeah, that is a thing about iRacing, isn't it? That it does cost quite a lot of money, but it's... I would say for me personally, on balance, it's been worth it, because the amount of good quality racing, and good quality being the operative word, that I've been able to do and had access to has been unreal. I mean, just for all the money that I've spent in iRacing, all of it was worth it just for the 24 Hours of Le Mans last weekend, which was honestly some of the best racing experience I've ever had. It was amazing.
I think usually people say quality over quantity, but when you've got a bit of both, because you've got the abundance of racing series, of times you can go online and race and have competitive racing, you've got a bit of both worlds in iRacing that you don't tend to get in any other sim.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that cost, you're getting what you're paying for in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the access to quality racing that you have. I mean, like the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I mean, I was on a team with Tony Draper, and we were in split 17 of like 30, watching Tony as he lights up the rears coming out of the hairpin there. So 6.5 minutes left of qualifying. As it stands, has anybody actually got a lap in yet? No, they haven't. That's
Doesn't
Tony
look like it's it.
No, it doesn't look like it. So I think, to be fair, I suspect that I think Ted's on a lap now. Let me see if I've got a little graphic where we can see his time happening as it happens. Time delta.
These cars are looking quite happy at the rear.
Yeah.
Through a lot of these fast corners, so looking a little bit difficult for them to keep a handle on. But generally, quite a lot of downforce in these cars. Really sticks them to the road surface.
Oh, we've got a little dashboard thing. That's quite cool. So the battles box will be useful in the race. I'll just turn that off for now. That's all right.
So far, only Bradbury who's set a lap. That's a...
Pete Harrod has just done a lap as well. That should be updating any second now. I wonder why it's doing that. Let me just try reloading the... There you go. Ted Bradbury with a 154.2. Pete Harrod about half a second off him. And Ben Williams in third at the moment. His best lap time is a 155.7. So we can see everyone getting some lap times on the board now. That's what we like. I'm very pleased, actually. Like, a lot of the most of the drivers that are in this series are here because I was racing against them online, and we had good battles. Like Ollie Kemp. Let's go and have a look at him quickly. Ollie Kemp and I had a number of really tasty little scraps at Silverstone a few weeks ago, which was awesome.
Yeah, I believe he was also in maybe a different split, but of the Le Mans 24 as well.
Yeah, they were we were racing LMP2, and they were racing. Oh, he catches the grass on the outside. That was well held. Oh my goodness, absolute code brown for Ollie Kemp going into Degner 1 there.
He didn't seem to lose all that much speed either, considering how much he threw it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking at Pete Harrod now. He's currently half a second off the lead. I wish that... Oh, there's the time delta. Oh no, that's not what I want. I want lap time. Let's see if this will give us anything. If I click sectors, ooh, we've got so many nice graphics. This is so great. I feel like all the graphics and stuff that I have access to now is a huge step up from the DTM series for those of you that watched it. So what's this gonna be? Pete Harrod comes across the line, fastest so far. Provisional pole position, a 154.1.
It's only a tenth ahead of Bradbury right now, and we know Bradbury was setting a banker lap, so we can expect those times to still come down, even with 5 minutes left in the session.
Definitely.
Tony Draper's still not setting a time.
Yeah. So let's just have a look at this. The temperature is 42 degrees. My goodness. So that's track temperature, of course. So 24 degrees ambient, 40% humidity with 20 kilometers an hour wind. That's interesting. So, testing conditions here slightly for the drivers. Let's see what Tony's getting up to, shall we? And I will put that back on. I love all the animation and all of that on the graphics. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's very, very clean.
So let's see if I can get the deltas on here, sectors for Tony.
It's definitely pushing hard. The front end of the car's not quite gripping into the surface as much as he'd like by the looks of things.
Yeah,
just scrubbing off that speed.
Yeah, all the drivers so far saying that the front end is not quite as pointy as they'd like. I guess that's a thing though, isn't it? If you get a nice pointy front end, that often means that the rear end is a little bit light. And on this track, that can bite you quite badly. Certainly, I've done a few races because it's actually we're at the beginning of season 3 on iRacing of 2020, and this week's race has been Suzuka, so that's kind of why I've done that a few times in the calendar. So I've done this race a few times, and yeah, the rear end can be quite lively if you're not careful.
Yeah, Tony especially through Sector 1, because there's so much twisting and turning.
Yeah. Tony needs to get a lap in here, doesn't he? It's a bit of a lock-up going into
He does indeed. Only 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. The thing about Formula cars as well is that the chassis tend to be very stiff. Even when you've got a loose setup on, it's still stiff. So what was that? That was not a represent. Oh yeah, because he had quite a long Sector 1. So I'm assuming that was an outlap or something like that. So let's see. We'll stay with him. We'll see what he's got. I think that he's going to need to get his lap time in now. He might not. He actually might not have time to get a lap in now. 18.0 first sector. So Ted Bradbury currently on pole position with a 153.6. Pete Harrod less than 2/10 behind him, and then a good chunk of time back. We've got Ash Russell with a 155.2. Ben Williams behind him with a 55.3, and then Ollie Kemp with a 56.3 behind him. I don't know that everyone's necessarily adapted to the conditions just yet.
No, we know Ollie Kemp had that issue through the Degners, so likely he lost a lot of time through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So 30 seconds left of qualifying. This doesn't do that thing that Assetto Corsa does, where it lets you finish your lap. When it hits 10 minutes, it's just going to cut you off. So unfortunately, it looks very much like Tony's not going to get to complete this lap, which is a shame.
It's going to be very tight if it is. No, there's no way he can get.
Oh, he catches the curb coming out of Spoon as well. He's pushing hard
into the wall.
Yeah, loses out a little bit. Oh, he'll be gutted about that.
So starting from the back.
Yeah, brings us to the end of quali then. I'm wondering if we're missing a couple of drivers, because we haven't got laps from Liam Silkston or Dave Cyrus. So let's see what happens now, shall we? Let's bring up the results page, see if that gives us anything.
They are both on the session list there. Though they haven't set laps.
Okay, so what have we got now? I'm just going to dip into iRacing itself and see what's... Okay, so there are people on the grid. That's okay, cool. I think we're getting what we want.
Matt would like you to turn your mic up a little bit more.
Okay, I can do that.
Just to balance levels up.
Imagine tweeting David Croft and saying, "All right, Crofty, can you turn your mic up, please?" How dare you?
Can't quite hear you. Yeah.
Okay, let's try that.
I think usually people are asking to turn him down.
Yeah, I know, right?
The cars.
Okay, so where are we at? Let's have the race tower. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep my eyes trained on Ted Bradbury, so we'll see what kind of start he can make. I think we're going to be waiting for about another minute or so. So just looking into the chat, there's a hello in the chat from my mum. Hello, Mum. Thank you for tuning in. So the lights are coming out now. We're waiting for the lights to go out. Of course, we've got 5 lights, and they're out, and we're off. Looks like a good start from Ted Bradbury. Is that Pete Harrod behind him as well? He also seems to have gotten a good drag. Good start from Ted.
A very poor start.
Yeah.
Seems to bog down quite a lot.
Ted Bradbury leads us away. There's Pete Harrod just behind him, and Ash Russell is holding on in 3rd place. Ted already pulling a little bit of a gap. He's about half a second up. Pete Harrod not going to make this easy for him, of course. Pete is the World GT champion at the moment, so we know he's got a turn of speed underneath him. So let's have a look and see what Tony Draper's doing. Did he have He's already gained 2 positions.
All in all, quite a clean start compared to what we've seen in some of the other series so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's giving plenty of room.
Yeah, I think that the fact that that damage is turned on means that people are going to have to be a little bit more courteous, and so he's gone defensive there, Tony. He needs to make sure he has a good drive because Liam Silkston is just behind him. Just having a look at the gaps up and down the field here.
Still close between Harrod and Bradbury at the front. He's not getting away quickly.
No, he's not. So let's have a look at that. I'm going to keep an eye on this gap for now because this seems to be the smallest gap. Tony needs to make sure he gets a good drive out of Spoon Corner. These cars do benefit from a tow, of course. That being the wash coming off the car in front of them. Got to be careful through 130R here as well when the tires are cold. Tony's going to definitely have to go defensive here coming into the chicane. But Liam Silkston jigs to the inside. Is he going to go for a lunge? And Tony locks up his brakes and he's around. Oh no. Let's get back to the front then, shall we? So this is Pete Harrod. He's less than a second off the lead, and they seem to be pulling away from the leaders already.
Little bit of weaving from Bradbury there. In the front,
they do need to get heat in the tires as well. It takes a good couple of laps to get these tires up to temperature properly. Lots of complaining from the iRacing community generally when this new tire model was brought in, and I loved that it was Lando Norris that put all of that to sleep. You know, everyone complaining, and Lando came in and went, well, that's what tires do on racing cars that start from cold. They take ages to heat up. And from that moment, everyone was kind of, oh, okay, sorry, Lando. We trust your opinion on the matter, because, of course, he's raced these cars, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was doing a test in one of these very recently at Silverstone as well. McLaren not able to test in their Formula 1 car.
Yes, that's right.
Testing restrictions, so they were driving this era Formula 3 car.
Yeah, it's a shame that they Renault wouldn't give them any engines, and of course the 2-year-old car that they would have liked to have run, like all the other teams have done, were using Honda engines. So of course they couldn't get any engines out of Honda, could they?
No, precisely. So
yeah,
a bit of an unlucky scenario from them on the whole, with 3 different engine suppliers over the space of very few years. But
yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at Ash Russell. He's not letting the leaders get away too quickly. He, of course, about a second off the back of Pete Harrod. Pete keeping Ted Bradbury very interested here. Ted Bradbury, of course, is he's a national karting champion. He's competed at quite a high level. Century Sim member as well. He's been down to the centre racing a bunch of times, and his pace is always very strong.
Is that Silkston looking at a move?
Let's go and have a look.
Kemp maybe behind him. Very close going into the last chicane there.
Ollie Kemp must have.
Looks like he's gone
yeah, so Ollie Kemp dives into the pit lane. He must have had a little bit of damage.
He was well on pace there, pulling alongside after 130R.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Draper's fallen a little bit further back from the pack than he would have liked to with that lock-up earlier on.
See how he's doing.
We'll see if he can make a little bit of pace and catch back up to the pack.
Yes, so what I want to see, actually, I'm just going to add something to the timing tower and see if I can... So there's the gap. Tell you what, let's put the last time in, shall we? See what that looks like. So this is I've just added the last lap time that each driver did. So 54.2, fastest lap for Ted Bradbury at the moment. Only a tenth behind him is Pete Harrod. The thing that you're going to get out of Pete Harrod every time is consistency. Like, he's just going to be able to... am I getting the same thing here? Yes, I am. That's not what I want.
Yeah, we've seen that from the few races that he did in the DTM series as well.
Yeah,
it wasn't necessarily his... He was exceedingly quick in qualifying, but it was that raw consistency and pressure that he was able to put on people. that forced those errors and allowed him his way through.
Yeah, absolutely. So the field's spreading out a little bit here. I think what we'll get is something interesting with the reverse grid, of course, because the pace seems to be fairly consistent from everyone across the board. But that means that Ted Bradbury, being a second up, Pete Harrod chasing him down, they're going to have to make their way through the pack if they're going to want to win race 2. Race 2 is always a doozy.
It's so much fun as well. If you're starting out a position, whether it's because you were slower in the first race and you've got a chance to redeem yourself starting near the front, or if you've had a good first race, it pumps you up for the second one. You've really got to dig deep and find that speed.
Yeah. Sorry, I just double-clicked on something to see what it would do, and it made that really loud noise. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, it may have given me a small heart attack.
Oh, man, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Why is it giving me the replay stuff? Ugh, goodness. I nearly swore on live YouTube just then. Did you hear that?
Family show.
Managed to couch myself. Sorry, Mum.
So the lap times are already falling down into the 53s, which is
So why am I... Hang on.
blistering pace.
Are we on scenic all of a sudden? No, there's Pete Harrod. Where's Ted Bradbury? There he is. Okay, cool. So who's that in front of Ted now? Is that Dave Cyrus?
Looks like lap traffic.
Yeah, it's Dave Cyrus. So there's Ted Bradbury then. Okay, cool. So Dave Cyrus doing a good job to get out of the way. That's kind of him. So the gap now less than a second to Pete Harrod. He seems to have scored a little bit in traffic there. He's going to want to get as close as he can to the back of Ted Bradbury, because the closer he gets, the more of a tow he's going to get. But I reckon he should be close enough to be getting a tow, to be benefiting from a tow right now. So we're watching Ted as it stands, but we're just keeping an eye on that gap. Let's have a look at Ben Williams having a look at Tony Draper there. I wonder if Ben's had an incident or two. So Tony's lost.
Tony's still away from the field, so he's still trying to claw that distance back.
Yeah,
but looks like Williams has had a similar issue. Yeah,
but Tony's last lap is over a second quicker than Liam Silkston in front of him. The gap now is about 4 and a bit seconds. Is it?
Yeah, 4 seconds though.
Yeah, so we're watching Ben Williams at the moment. Yeah, that's right.
But that'll quickly come down. There's still plenty of the race to go. Still 4 laps to go after this.
Yeah, so we're watching Tony Draper now. Let's see what this lap time is. I have quite a lot more live timing than you can see at home. So that last lap was a 54.6, which is within 0.3 of his fastest lap of the race, which is good. The last lap for Liam Silkston in front is a 55.6. So he's taken a whole second out of him on this lap, on that last lap. So I reckon he's at that sort of pace, he's going to catch Liam. But catching is one thing, passing is a whole nother.
Yeah, as Pete Harrod's experiencing right now, I mean, he's still 1 second back, kind of holding that gap. But what we've seen from him time and time again. Yeah,
3/10 quicker on that last lap than Ted Bradbury. He did a 53.9 to Ted's 54.2.
He just seems to be able to sit behind and gauge the driver in front for as long as he dares.
Yeah, and, whilst being ultra consistent.
Yeah, for sure, and then have that last ditch effort toward the end of the race.
Yeah.
Pile the pressure on when it really matters.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what Pete is thinking at this point, actually, because he, is he pushing flat out, or is he taking his time and then letting Ted get comfortable, and then he'll give it a big push towards the end of the race?
Considering how close they were on pace in both qualifying and the practice and the session we had before, who knows? I mean, Ted was the quicker of the two on a raw pace, but we've yet to see how consistent he can be in a race. Right now, he's not put a foot wrong, and he's absolutely flying.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tony now is 2.5 seconds off the back of Liam Silkston. Looks like he's gained a bunch through the last chicane there. He took a good chunk out of him. So Liam, let's see what Liam's last lap is. Has he crossed the line?
Well, he's halved the gap in a lap, almost.
Yeah, so he was a second and a half quicker.
Looks like he's got an issue.
Tony does.
Or is that no? Sorry, that was Cyrus. My bad.
Yeah, Dave Cyrus being overtaken. So yeah, the gap now down to less than 2 seconds between Tony and Liam. This is clearly where the action is right now. Well, we do need to make sure we keep an eye on that battle for the lead. But right now, Tony is catching Liam Silkston pretty quickly. But like I said, there's still plenty of time left. Catching is one thing, overtaking is another. But I have a feeling we're about to see some action, which is great. Gap now 1.7 seconds to the driver in front. Really stepping the rear end coming out there, going through Degner 1 as well. Nice early turn in for Degner 2. He is looking
We've
like
seen
he's
that a couple of times from drivers, haven't we? Through
he's
Degner 1.
giving it a good show so far. So the last lap for Ted Bradbury, fastest lap of the race, was a 1:53.6.
Oh, he's flying, isn't he?
Yeah, Pete Harrod though responds with a 53.8. So only a tenth and a half in it between the two of them.
It does show that I think they're both holding back a little bit. They don't need to push super hard. They've got that gap to Russell behind. So
yeah. So Liam seems to have picked himself up a little bit on this lap. The gap now 1.8. What was that?
Russell's had an issue. He's dropped down the field. Silkston's gone through. I wonder if he's had a crash into the barrier coming out of Spoon.
Oh,
it looks
yeah,
like
look.
he has. He's lost his front end.
Yeah. So Tony's got to be really careful going through there. Ooh, that was close. I tell you what, I wonder if he caught it. Do you know what? It is a thing in this damage model that you can take damage from debris from other cars. I actually got struck by a wheel once. Someone had a crash. I was at Lime Rock. Someone had a crash in front of me, like way before me. I came around the corner, saw him parked on the right, and his wheel hit my rear suspension. I was out the race. Couldn't believe
and
it.
Equally, that could have happened just there. There was a big piece of front wing heading across, but
Yeah.
it's equally allowed Tony Draper to close that gap now to just a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ben Williams, of course, benefiting from the fact that we have the fast rebuild. So all he had to do was go into the pits. It would sort him out, and then he could drive straight out again. So doesn't cost him too much. It's only one position by the looks of things. I wonder what's happened to Oliver Kemp. There he is running around in 7th place.
He was running fairly high up, around 5th position.
Yeah. So his fastest lap is a 55.0. I wonder if he's struggling in the conditions a little bit. Let's keep watching
Gap
Tony.
up front only half a second now between
Ooh.
Harrod and Bradbury.
Okay, I think we want to see that, don't we? Here comes
Really
Pete.
starting to push.
Here he comes. It's 2 laps to go. Oh man, do we want to watch
This
Tony?
is where we see it.
Yeah. So he's definitely going to have a tow now. Just needs to have a clean exit coming out of Spoon Curve. The gap between Tony and between Draper and Silkston only 3/10 now as well. Is that Bradbury looking to break the tow? But Pete's going to have to be careful going through 130R. Little right rear onto the grass there for.
Is he going to send it?
Is he going to go defensive, Ted Bradbury? No. Ted Bradbury, only 13 years old as well. So about 20 years younger than the man chasing him. Let's see what he's got. That sounds way worse than I wanted it to sound. Let's leave that one where it is, shall we? So here comes Pete Harrod. He's Ted Bradbury going defensive early. Can Harrod make a Kimi Räikkönen-esque move around the outside? No, doesn't try it. Let's have a look and see how Tony's getting on. Because they're
coming to the back straight now.
Right,
That's
here they come. So Tony Draper, he's
Draper.
nice big toe. He pulls out to the right-hand side. Looks like he's going to get a pretty clean drive past Liam Silkston there. Does he make it stick? Yes, he does. Silkston backs out. That's smart.
Very clean move.
Very nice. Okay, cool. So Tony now up to 3rd place, but with quite a big gap. Let's head back to the leaders and see how this is getting on. Pete Harrod still all over the back of Ted Bradbury. This is what we like to see, isn't it? A bit of racing come the end of the race. So, running out of time, of course. Can he race?
2 laps to go now.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
Still
Well, 1 lap
enough
after
time
this.
to make this. Yeah.
So where are they now? Heading up to the hairpin. You can make overtakes work there, but it's you've got to be really, really close behind, and it's a bit of a Hail Mary pass.
Especially if somebody's defending aggressively and you don't expect that gap closes so quickly.
Yeah.
When you don't have as much downforce going on the front wing, the car won't slow down.
Yeah. Pete Harrod's
Very
last
easy.
lap, by the way, a fastest lap of the race with a 53.5. That took 7/10 out of Ted Bradbury's lead, and a 54.2 is also not a poor lap. So he's in the slipstream now. Ted trying to break it as best he can. Seems to be moving around quite a lot, but Pete's got to be careful through 130R now because he's going to have quite a big wake from the driver in front. Ted's definitely going to have to go defensive. He does go defensive, so Pete going to have a look around the outside. No, thinks better of it. Smart to set up for a good exit here. He does get a good exit already. He's right on the gearbox of Ted Bradbury now. Ted going to make him go the long way round by the looks of things, so Pete pulls alongside. It's difficult to tell from this angle if he's ahead or not. It looks like he is, yeah. It's a move well made. The success of that move was getting a good exit out of the final chicane. Not all over, though. So this is the last lap of the race as well. Now you can see the white flags are out. Is that Ted having a little look up the inside? It looks like it is.
I think this might be the end of the race. I think it finished early on time.
Yeah, it may have done.
So unfortunately, I think Bradbury just held off Pete Harrod.
Oh, yes, so it did.
Very, very close finish.
Less than a tenth in it. What a close finish that was. Absolutely
right
brilliant.
On the line.
Right, so where's Tony then? Has he crossed the line? Yes, he has. So Tony Draper comes home third. It's a good drive from him because he didn't get a lap in quali, did he? So
no, it started straight from the back.
Yeah, so I'm very curious to see what's going to happen now. Let me see if this results thing is going to work. So, okay, that's not showing me anything. Okay, so yeah, this is the grid for the next race. We're straight into it, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Cyrus on pole, of course. Ollie Kemp P2, Ash Russell in third, Ben Williams in fourth, Liam Silkston. We're going to call him Silky from now on because that's how he goes. Tony Draper P6, Pete Harrod P7, and Ted Bradbury P8. I think this is going to be fascinating to see how quickly Ted and Pete and Tony are going to be able to get through the pack.
Yeah, they've had huge amounts of pace, regularly lapping about 0.7 a second quicker than the rest of the pack. So,
yeah.
And Tony wasn't far off on lap time. So, if these three can push through the pack, we could have a really interesting race here.
Yeah, absolutely right. So let's put the tower back on. Let's see what we've got. So this is an 11-lap race. So lights are coming on now. 1, 2 lights, 3, 4 lights, 5 lights, and the lights out almost immediately. Good start then from Pete Harrod and Ted Bradbury. Who have we got? Oliver Kemp is
up the inside already.
Yeah, absolutely. Oliver Kemp takes the lead there, so we'll focus on him. Oh, he's got a little bit sideways going through turn 1. The pack all bunched up as well. So we'll have a look at Tony Drake. Looks like a clean start for everyone for the most part. Oh, that's a spin. Who's that? That's just spun out. Is that Liam Silkston? No. I think it was Dave Cyrus. Oh, that's a shame, and he has absolutely smashed it to bits. Yeah, that's going to be a tow. Fortunately, though, he will be able to keep going, because of course we've got the fast repair thing. So let's just reload the tower and see if that's going to give us some actual standings, etc. Oh, that's contact. Is that Ted Bradbury? Contact. It is Ted Bradbury, isn't it?
Who do you make contact with? Is that?
I think that was Ben. Yeah, I think that was Ben Williams. So let's see where Pete Harrod is up to. There he is, chasing down Tony Draper now. Do you know what? I reckon Tony, having had a slightly difficult start to the first race, is going to be looking at this going, I could potentially win this. He's got Pete Harrod behind him. That's where you want Pete Harrod to be. And he's only got 2 drivers in front of him.
I'd argue not. Sometimes it's better to have somebody in front of you that you can chase down when you've got somebody as fast as Pete behind you. That's extra pressure that he doesn't want to be dealing with right now. He wants to be as far up front as possible, but Ollie Kemp doing a very good job staying in first place here.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
Took that right in turn 1.
Yeah, so for now, though, I would say that if Pete is smart, which, as we've seen, he is, he's going to be hanging back and letting Tony deal with this lot and benefiting from any accidents or any carnage that may be caused.
Picking up the scraps, as it were.
Yeah, that's it, because there's plenty of time as well. You know, this is a 20-minute race. Ollie Kemp opens his account with a 56.1. That's a good opening lap, that. He's under some pressure from Ash Russell, though. Let's have a look at him. The purple wheels, I like that.
A little bit wide through turn 1. He's lost a little bit, but he's straight back on him through turn 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So the gap back to Tony about 0.6. We're going to keep an eye on this battle because he runs really wide and gets into the gravel. Oh, that is a shame. tyre's not quite up to temperature by the looks of things. Tony and
he
Pete...
had a little bit of a twitch behind the rear wing there, and I think maybe got a little bit of the wake as well.
Yeah. So looking into the chat on the YouTube, we've got a comment from Nick Broadbent. He just says giggity. Hello, Nick. Nice to hear from you.
Giggity indeed.
Giggity. Yes, indeed. So we've got some exciting stuff coming up. Is Ted Bradbury still in the pits? I can't double click on that. That's not going to do anything. Yep, there he is in the pit lane. Let's not focus on people in the pits, shall we? So the gap now. Ollie Kemp is currently leading the race. Tony Draper is P2. He's a second down. Pete Harrod 6 or 7 tenths off the back of him. This is the battle that we want to see, isn't it?
I mean, we've seen this in the last couple of rounds of the DTM Championship at Imola. These two had a mighty battle.
Absolutely, so. Race 1 at Imola. If you go onto our YouTube, for those of you in the chat, go onto our YouTube channel and have a look at race 1 at Imola in the DTM series. The battle between these two was absolutely epic. So hopefully we're going to get some more of that today. So Ollie Kemp coming across the line now.
Only half a second in it now with Pete behind Tony. He's going to be in the slipstream. Yeah, maybe a little bit far back here to go into turn 1, but he's definitely looking.
Tony definitely looking in his mirrors right now. Fastest lap of the race for Pete Harrod, a 1:54.3.
That's not what he wanted to see.
No, it's not. It's not. This is good though. 55.2 for Ollie Kemp. That's not bad pace at all, and he's going to be absolutely delighted with the fact that Tony and Pete are having a battle behind him. Good line for Tony.
In the pits already.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's run into an issue. He was running 5th.
Yeah, very possibly. This is where the battle is, though. I think that we've got plenty of good stuff. I want who's that ahead? So we've got some traffic. That's not going to help Ollie Kemp at all.
Seems to have cleared it.
Seems to have cleared. Yeah, I wonder if that back marker went off, or I suppose it doesn't really matter for right now. But so there's Pete Harrod. That's Ollie Kemp has run a lot. He's run a lot wide through the hairpin there, and Tony's going to look interested into Spoon. This is not a place where you want to be trying to overtake because the entry into it is so fast. Ollie Kemp defending hard there. He's got the inside line. I'd say that he should hang on to it. Yeah, Tony backs out.
He's got to be careful from Pete Harrod behind now as well, because he's going to have a better exit than Tony.
Yeah, we're going to have a nice big train here. So Tony gets a good exit there. Pete Harrod also gets a good exit. Ollie Kemp is sitting duck by the looks of things. This is Tony going up the inside at 130. This is not a place where you want to be trying to do it. Be brave, boys.
Pete's already backed off. He's not having any of that.
Yeah. He's a smart man, isn't he? So Ollie Kemp keeps it planted there. Absolutely brilliant. Tony goes defensive to the inside. Ollie Kemp having it... Did they touch? I don't think they did. Oh my goodness, what absolutely brilliant racing from those two. That was fantastic.
Tony's still going to have the toe coming down here into turn 1. He could still make a move. Look at that draft.
Oh, that is brilliant. Absolutely stunning racing. Ollie Kemp goes defensive. Tony Draper gets a little bit more of the toe. Is he going to sweep around the outside? I'll have Raikkonen. Yes, he does. Absolutely brilliant. What a move that was to take the lead of the race. Now, Pete Harrod has to get after Ollie Kemp if he wants to have any chance of winning this race. Tony is going to be buzzing about that move. Have you seen that overtake that Raikkonen pulled on Fisichella on the last lap of the race in like 2005? That was
picture perfect.
Absolutely picture perfect. That was brilliant. I am so buzzing right now from that move. Of course, Tony's
got to be careful here. Has Harrod passed? Kemp's gone off.
Kemp's gone off. Yeah. Oh, what a shame that is. See Tony stepping the back end out into Degner 1 there, that was a go-kart move there. He just wants to
run away.
Oh man,
he does not want Harrod behind him right now. So,
game on, gentlemen. There's still plenty of time left in this race. Tony going to have to be super defensive. Oh man, what a move that was around the outside. I'm watching the two of them go side by side through the last chicane. Also brilliant.
And Pete Harrod being quite wise to stay behind there. There was plenty of opportunities where he could have gone 3 wide.
Yeah.
But he backed off into 130R, let them have their battle, and if you look now, he's still 1 second behind. Even after lifting, he's right on the back of Tony Draper. So
see, we've got
a clever decision.
We've got Nick Broadbent in the comments says Pete broke the car. I wonder if Pete did get a touch on the back of Tony Draper and just damaged his front nose cone a little bit. We'll have to keep an eye on the lap times. Because
it did look like they got very close coming down here into 130R last
did.
lap. So
Yeah, so I do have a replay function on this, but I have no way of knowing how to use it. So I think during the week that's something I'm going to have to explore because, man, being able to relive that overtake would have been brilliant.
It was just picture perfect racecraft from the pair of them. Neither of them giving an inch, but
yeah, absolutely stunning. I'm glad that we got to see that from Ollie Kemp, I must say, because we did, like I said in the build-up, he and I have had a couple of good ding-dong battles. That's where I found him, you know, sort of going side by side through almost a whole lap of Silverstone in this car. Also very young as well. He's only 17, so tremendous maturity in his racecraft there from such a youngster.
Definitely a lot of respect between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Despite not having driven against each other much, I presume.
Yeah. So I wonder now, if assuming Pete's car is geez, Tony really stepping the back end out there. That's oh my goodness.
He's pushing. It's fastest lap of the race from Tony last time round. So
yeah, it was, wasn't it?
He's really digging deep.
Yeah. So don't forget as well, there's a big lock up there, and Pete looks very interested. So Pete has a bit of a wiggle on the exit. That lets Tony off the hook big time.
He can wipe a bit of sweat from his brow now and let that one slide.
Yeah.
He'll be feeling that pressure.
Yeah, definitely. So I wonder, what I'm expecting from Pete now is that he'll just consolidate, let Tony think he's in the clear, and then I imagine the last 5 minutes of the race he'll get aggressive. That's what we'd like to see anyway.
It's what we've seen quite often from Pete, as we were saying in the last race.
Absolutely.
And it rang true as he was trying to get those last lap moves. Obviously less than a tenth in it for the finish.
Yeah. So let's have a little look at Ollie Kemp now. He's chasing down Ash Russell. What's the?
It did cost him quite a heap of time. 6 seconds going wide there through the first sector. But he's had pace, so this should be fairly achievable for him to still get a podium here.
Yeah, so personal best for Ash Russell, it's a 54.6. Ollie Kemp does a 54.7. So the gap about 2 seconds, all to play for still.
So the fastest lap from Bradbury down in 6th.
Yeah, it's a shame that he had that contact. Let's have a little look at him and see where he's up to. So he's about 40 odd seconds off the back of Liam Silverstone, unfortunately. So I suspect that this is his spot. We've had a move for the lead there, and we missed it. Of course we did. So, oh man, that's
been an issue there from Tony Draper going a little bit wide through the curves.
Do you know what we're going to do, because we have the capacity to do it? I'm just going to rewind, and we'll see what happens here. So, a bit cheeky there, but there must be a more elegant way. Oh, Tony just lost it.
We've got a proper swap on.
Oh, that's a shame. So he comes back.
Oh,
that was close.
Rejoin.
That was close. All right, so So we're live again now. So we're watching Pete Harrod. Oh, that's such a shame for Tony.
We've seen that a couple of times from these cars, getting that little bit of a twitch of oversteer. It's hard to correct it and keep the car on the circuit.
Yeah, definitely.
But an unforced error there from Tony, which is fairly uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah, that's true, actually. He's not, by his own admission, he's not done much running in this car at all. Like, I think he only got it a few days ago, and so I imagine that as the series goes on, we'll see everyone get more and more up to speed. That little skirmish, though, brings Ash Russell into the conversation as well. He's only a second and a half down the road. Let's see what he's
Ollie
got.
Kemp.
And Ollie Kemp, indeed.
He's not too far out.
Yeah, so has Ollie taken a little bit out of Ash on that lap?
Yeah, it seems so.
Yeah, let's have a look at Ash and see how he's getting on. So Tony's last lap crosses the line. Oh yeah, so 157.8. Ash Russell does a 54.6, 54.7 for Ollie Kemp. Is that right?
So yeah, he's just falling back a little bit from Russell.
Yeah,
Russell doing personal best every lap at this point. So
yes, you're absolutely right.
He's on a charge.
You're absolutely right. It's what we like to see, isn't it? Nice, consistent drive. Pete Harrod, of course, out in the lead at the moment.
It's not over by any means, though.
No, it is not. No, it is not. Pulling out a bit of a gap already, though. The gap now 1.6 seconds back to Tony Draper. Oh, Tony will be gutted about that, you know.
Looks like whatever issue Pete Harrod was having, maybe it was a knock to the front wing, hasn't been impacting his performance too much.
Yeah,
Seems
certainly
to be
not.
reasonably planted. His
Yes.
pace still as we'd expect from him, so
Yeah, absolutely.
dealing well with that damage if he does have any. So just 4 laps to go, including this one.
Yes, indeed. So we're on lap 7 of 11. And we're watching Tony Draper, who's just over 2 seconds behind Pete Harrod. He's got Ash Russell behind him, about 2.2 seconds, and Ollie Kemp. Ollie Kemp
He has
seems
closed that gap.
Yeah, Ollie
he
Kemp
has closed that gap this lap.
Yeah, so Ollie's taken a little bit out of Ash on this lap, which is nice. We'd like to see a little bit more battling, I think.
Ted Bradbury, even being so far behind, he's managed to gain 3 seconds in the past 2 laps.
Yeah, 53.5 fastest lap of the race.
Flying.
That's crazy. Though I suppose,
flying.
Yeah, why does Pete need to push any harder than he is now?
I mean, I think there's still a big chance for Tony to come back here, but
yeah,
perhaps Harrod can see the fastest lap come up in his delta, and he wants a shot at that because he's not far off.
Yeah, not far off at all.
Personal best from him on the last lap.
Yeah,
just extending that lead a little bit. I wonder if Tony's had any damage from running over that gravel.
Very possible. Very possible.
It's quite a big curb through the S's. So.
You say that though, like a 54.1 is not a slow lap, not at all.
Field spread's fairly consistent at this point. Everybody's settling into their rhythms.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I'm actually gonna see if I can do a replay. So let's just have a little look at this. Ah, turns out I can. There must be a way to preload that, though. I'd have thought.
Yeah, I feel like that would be easier with the.
Need to do something about the volume of that noise. Goodness grief. Good grief.
Yeah, I feel like it would be easier with a dedicated race director, so that we can focus on the action.
So Pete's pulled out a fair amount on that lap. There's a 53.7. Let's just go and have a look and see where they're at on the lap. So there's Pete now coming through the final chicane. He has had a pretty strong lap on in this particular tour. He's coming across the line now. Let's see what he's got.
53.6. He's getting faster each lap.
Yeah. That's it. Tony comes across the line with a 54.9. So Tony's not had the fastest lap of his life. I'll tell you what though. Tony Draper with a 154.96. Ash Russell with a 154.96. So those two drivers within a thousandth of each other.
Pure consistency from the pair of them as well.
Yeah, it's mega, isn't it? I think that fact right there is going to mean that this championship is going to be very tasty indeed.
Yeah, well, like we said from drivers' practice times before this session, people doing their own private practice, the times were so similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with the gap only being 3.7 seconds after 9 laps, that's pretty huge considering the amount of action we've had.
Yeah.
So, sorry, not huge.
Oh, Ash Russell, Mac! Wow, he did well to hang on to that in the background. Did you see that? Absolutely brilliant.
Very loose.
All right, I actually want to see that again, so I'm going to do that cheeky little rewind that I can do.
I think he just got wide onto the AstroTurf, lost the grip. We know how slippy it is out there.
Manages to hang on to it,
almost
though.
in the gravel as well.
Yeah, that was a major Code Brown moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. I forgot that was going to happen again.
And to hold it again on the grass on the other side of the circuit as well. He almost took it to the other wall. Oh, and he spun.
Oh no!
Just holds on. But
manages
through.
Yeah, manages to not take out. I think that's well deserved from Ollie Kemp though. Like he has driven really well in this race.
Yeah, he's been consistent. He held that lead for as long as he did. A huge battle with Tony put on the show of the race between those two.
Mega racing. I think that I'll be interested to chat to them at the end after this race to see if they touched or not.
Yeah, I think there might have been a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact in the chicane, but otherwise very respectful driving between the pair of them, and it's great racing when you can drive so close to somebody and still both of you get out in one piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's what the drivers live for. It's what we live for. So
I have added both Tony and Ollie to the commentary, so they now can be in the commentary live chat. So we'll have a chat with them after the race. Okay, so where are we up to? So we're reaching the end of this race now. All quiet on the western front. So the gap now between Ollie and Tony is not massive, I don't think, is it? Yeah, it's about 5.6 seconds, of course, yeah. Pete Harrod has stretched his legs in this race, hasn't he?
He really has. Without having Bradbury behind him or in front of him to contest with, he's really been allowed to have sort of free reign over the circuit. Yeah,
it is a shame that that Ted had that contact on lap 1, I must say, because I think we were looking forward to another good battle between him and Pete, and Tony for that matter, because Tony was in the thick of it as well.
I'm sure we'll get plenty of chances to see that throughout the season, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward. I think this season, this is going to be absolutely brilliant. I think. Why is it showing us the pits there again? There's Pete going through the final chicane now.
About to start the last lap of the race.
Yeah, so this is Ash Russell with Ollie Kemp just in front of him. Let's see what
this battle still isn't over for third.
No, not at all. So Ollie Kemp going to be coming across the line shortly. His lap time is... Let's see what he's got. 155.3 to a 154.4 from Ash Russell. This is where the action is right now.
Only a second and a half to go. If there's any mistake from Kemp, Russell's going to be straight on the back of him.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the final lap of the race as well, so if he's going to make it happen, what he needs to do in Sector 1 is absolutely blitz it now, get right up behind Ollie Kemp, so he's got a run heading down towards 130R.
He's already taken half a second out of him. Oh,
yeah.
It's gone back up there.
Yeah, I think he's not had the cleanest run through the final sector. I wonder if he's pushing a little bit hard.
Pete Harrod also putting the fastest lap of the race in last lap, so
yeah.
Even with that buffer behind him, he's still throwing that car around.
Yeah. So, last lap of the race.
Very consistent and calm.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything under control. Let's have a look. So this is Pete Harrod coming up to Spoon Corner now. Tony Draper about 6 seconds back. He's heading towards Spoon Corner now as well. Let's keep a little eye on this battle here. Ollie Kemp, for the moment, got it under control, I think. The gap now 1.1 seconds. I'll tell you what, Ash Russell's got an advantage on the entry into Spoon there, I think. But
quite a bit.
Yeah,
3/10.
Yeah, he did gain a lot through there, didn't he? So this is Ollie Kemp now heading down towards 130R for the final time. Where's Pete Harrod? Has he crossed the line yet? Nope, here he is.
Final corner.
So Pete Harrod comes around the final corner and wins race 2 of the practice round of the Century Sim Racing Formula 3 series.
7/10. Russell's right on the back of Kemp here.
Oh, he's gotten sideways coming out. Let's have a little look at that, shall we? So let's grab ourselves a cheeky rewind. I need to find a more elegant way.
If they got close.
Yeah, we're about to find.
Very wide out there. He's done it all by himself, by the looks of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shame for him. He's closing that gap.
Yeah, just
so quickly as well.
Yeah, just
a little bit.
Lit the rear up. So easy to do. So let's fast forward again so that we're not hearing that horrible loud noise. Yeah. In fact, we're going to hear that noise. Are you ready? Here we go. Love it.
Ooh.
Cool. So, thank you for joining us, everybody. I tell you what, I'm going to see if I can get these two guys into the chat. Actually, let me throw the results thing up quickly. Results. Wait, I want to see overall results. Ah, there you go. That's quali. I don't want to see quali. So this is the results from Heat 1.
Wow. still less than a tenth of a second between Ted and Pete.
Yeah.
Such a close finish, and I think if we had one more lap, those two would have been battling for the whole lap.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. All right. This is a points thing. I really love the animation on all this stuff, you know. Right. Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's just get hold of these guys quickly. All right. So we're just waiting for some drivers to arrive now. That was really good, wasn't it?
It was good fun, especially for just the practice race of the season. It bodes well for what we have coming up.
Yeah, certainly. I'm very glad that we've done this test session. We've certainly seen some good racing once we got everything sorted out.
It's all worth it in the end when you get racing like that.
Absolutely. Right, I'm just waiting for these two to come and jump in the chat. We're waiting for Tony Draper and for Ollie Kemp. I want to chat to them about that battle that they had. Clearly still got some drivers out on track. I really like iRacing, you know. It's a very different thing. It's got a very different look and feel to Assetto Corsa.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more polished in terms of its ability to appeal to spectators, and just the general gist of it is far more developed than other sims.
Yes, indeed. So we are joined by, let's start with, we've got Ollie Kemp and Tony Draper both in the chat with us now. How was that, boys? Let's start with Tony.
Yeah, that was good fun. I'm clearly a long way off the pace. I've got some work to do, but it was really, really fun. Enjoyed battling Ollie. That was a great little battle in race 2.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, I'm standing up, but I was metaphorically out of my seat when you two went side by side through that final chicane. Absolutely brilliant. How was that from your side, Ollie?
That was great. I loved that.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew he was going to get through eventually, but like I thought I'd give him a bit of a run through.
Yeah. No, it was brilliant. Do you know what? Having come across you for the first time, going wheel to wheel like that around Silverstone, I invited you because I thought there's a young man that's going to be able to give us some good wheel to wheel action, and you've delivered before the season even starts. So well done. And Tony, I've got to say, a brilliant move around the outside. That was Kimi Räikkönen on Giancarlo Fisichella in 2005.
Do you know what? I thought I'd got him at the final chicane, and then he hung on around the outside. I was like, "Oh, this guy! I'm not going to get past this guy easily. This is going to be a fight." So then, getting the drag down to turn 1, I was like, "This is either going to be Kimi or it's going to be Kobayashi, and I'm going to be in the wall." And it could go one or two ways, but he braked a little earlier, and I saw that the move was on, so I went for it, and it was touch and go. I nearly didn't keep the back end in check.
Yeah. But brilliant though.
Very close to the outside of the circuit, but it was such a clean move.
Yeah.
Good. Well, yeah, it was thoroughly enjoyed. But yeah, as I say, props to Ollie, man, because he was fighting hard there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant work, guys.
Really
Thank you very
pick
much.
Up third in the end there as well, Ollie.
Yeah.
Just towards the end.
Yeah.
I must say, I hope that you guys are encouraged for the rest of the season now, because the quality of the driving and the pace throughout the field was pretty strong, and it was nice to see some good battles up and down. So I'm really excited to see what the rest of the season brings now.
Yeah, it was close, that's for sure. Everybody's times are pretty close, but as I say, I mean, I'm well over a second off the pace from the front two. I mean, Ted and Pete are in a different class today, so I don't know where I'm going to find that time. There's a lot of work going to have to go in before round 1, so. Yeah, I've got my work cut out, that's for sure.
I think it's all experience, isn't it? I mean, Ted and Pete, like Pete's been on iRacing for years. I mean, I was saying earlier on in the broadcast that every driver in iRacing has their 6-digit customer number. Well, Pete's been in iRacing so long, his customer number is only 5 digits. So he's Father Time.
Yeah, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting fact.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I think we're going to pack up and wrap up this broadcast. Thank you for some brilliant entertainment from the two of you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for organising. Looking forward to getting stuck in properly next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, Leon, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, anytime. So same
good
time next
fun.
week?
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. And I can't wait for more great racing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely the same. So, I've been joined by Leon Chambers. My name is James Whitehouse. You're watching the Century Sim Racing Formula 3 series. Good night.